Snow fell softly over the city, turning cracked sidewalks into something almost magical. Christmas lights blinked in windows that rarely stayed lit for long. Somewhere in the distance a bell rang faint. Hopeful Jamal Thompson pulled his thin coat tighter around his shoulders as he stepped out of the corner store. In one hand, he held a paper bag with a loaf of bread and a can of soup. In the other, a few coins clinked together of everything he and his grandmother had left until newness. He was 12 years old and already understood things most kids did in single quotes T. Like how hunger makes time move slower, like how Christmas doesn't care if you're poor, like how hope can feel dangerous when you've been disappointed too many times. He walked past glowing shop windows filled with toys he'd never touched, keeping his eyes on the ground so it wouldn't hurt as much. That's when he heard it. Grind. Not loud, not dramatic. Small. Lost. Jamal stopped. Across the street, near a bus stop dusted with snow, a little girl stood alone. She couldn't have been more than 5. Her red coat was buttoned wrong. One mitten dangled from her wrist by a string. Tears streaked her cheeks as she turned in slow circles looking for something that wasn't there. Jamal glanced around. People rushed past, arms full of gifts, eyes full of somewhere else. No one stopped. He hesitated. His grandma was waiting. The soup would get cold. It was Christmas Eve and they still hadn't wrapped the single gift Jamal had made by hand. A folded paper card with a promise written inside. But the girl cried again, voice shaking. Jamal crossed the street. "Hey," he said softly, crouching down so he wouldn't scare her. "Are you okay?" She shook her head violently. "I can't find my mommy." His chest tightened. "What's your name?" he asked Lily. She sniffed. "I'm Jamal," he said. "It's okay. We'll find her." Lily looked at him through wet lashes. "Promise." Jamal nodded. "Promise." Tuck off his own gloves too big. Fingers worn thin and slipped them onto her hands. "Your hands are cold," he said. "What about you?" she asked. "I'm used to it," Jamal replied with a small smile. They stood together under the flickering bus stoplight. Jamal asked questions the way he'd seen adults do on TV. "What does your mom look like?" "She has yellow hair," Lily said. "And she smells like flowers." "Okay," Jamal nodded seriously. "That's good." He scanned the crowd. Panic tugged at him. What if he messed this up? What if he lost her again? A woman hurried past. "Them, excuse me," Jamal called out. "Are you missing a little girl?" The woman barely glanced at them. "I'm late," she muttered, walking on. Another man shook his head without stopping. Lily's lip trembled again. She said to stay by the tree. Jamal looked around. Across the square stood a large Christmas tree, lights glowing, ornaments, catching snowflakes like stars.
"Come on,"
he said gently. "Let's go there." They walked hand in hand, Jamal shielding Lily from the wind as best he could. When they reached a tree, Lily's crying grew louder. "She's not here," she sobbed. Jamal swallowed hard. "Okay," he said, though his heart pounded. "That's okay. We'll keep looking." A security guard stood nearby. Jamal said, standing straighter than he felt. "This girl is lost. She can't find her mom." The guard frowned. "Where are your parents, son?" "At home," Jamal answered, honestly. The guard hesitated, clearly unsure. Before he could say anything else, a woman's voice cut through the air. "Lily!" The scream was raw, terrified. A blonde woman ran toward them, face pale, eyes wild. "Mommy!" Lily shrieked, breaking free and launching herself into the woman's arms. They collided in a hug so tight it looked like they were afraid to breathe. "Oh my God," the woman sobbed. I turned my back for 1 second. She pulled Lily back, checking her face, her hands. "Are you okay? Did anyone hurt you?" Lily shook her head. "Jamal helped me." The woman looked up, really looked at him. Snow clung to his hair. His shoes were worn through at the toes. His coat was too thin for December. "You stayed with her?" she asked. Jamal nodded. "Yes, ma'am. I didn't want her to be scared." The woman's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you," she said, voice breaking. "Thank you so much." He reached into her purse. "Please, let me." Jamal stepped back quickly. "No, thank you. I just wanted to help." She paused. "At least let me give you something." Jamal shook his head. "My grandma says helping people is what you're supposed to do." The woman swallowed hard. "What's your grandmother's name?" she asked gently. "Ruth," Jamal said. The woman smiled faintly. "She raised you right." She knelt to Lily. "Will you say thank you?" Lily said, hugging Jamal again. "Merry Christmas." "Merry Christmas," Jamal replied softly. He watched them walk away, hand in hand, disappearing into the crowd. The square felt colder now. Jamal looked down at his bare hands, and then at the bag of groceries. He turned toward home. That night, Jamal and his grandmother sat at their small kitchen table. The soup steamed between them. The TV played an old Christmas movie with static lines dancing across the screen. "You're quiet," Ruth said. Jamal shrugged. "I met a lost girl today," Ruth smiled. "Did you help her?" "Yes, ma'am." "Then that's a good Christmas," Ruth said simply. There was a knock at the door. They froze. No one knocked on their door. Not on Christmas Eve. Ruth stood cautiously and opened it. The hallway light spilled in, revealing the woman from the square. Lily peeked out from behind a leg, smiling. "I hope this isn't inappropriate," the woman said. "I couldn't." stop thinking about you. She held out a basket filled with food, warm bread, fruit, a small wrapped box. I know you didn't want anything, she said to Jamal, but please let me give you something anyway. Ruth's hand flew to her mouth. You don't have to, Ruth began. I want to, the woman said. My name is Claire. She looked at Jamal. Lily's father passed away last year. Christmas has been hard. Today you reminded me there's still good everywhere. She placed the basket on the table, and, she added, reaching into her coat, I run a foundation. We help families with housing and education. Jamal's heart thudded. I'd like to help your grandson, Claire said gently. If you'll let me. Ruth's eyes shone. That Christmas morning, Jamal woke up to something he hadn't felt in a long time, full not just his stomach, his heart. Weeks later, Jamal received a scholarship for a private middle school. His grandmother's rent was covered. The fridge stayed full. But Jamal never talked about the miracle when asked. He always said the same thing. I just helped a girl find a mom. And the lesson carried itself quietly through the snow-covered streets. You don't need money, power, or certainty to change a life. Sometimes all it takes is stopping when everyone else walks by. Kindness, given freely, has a way of coming back, especially when it's wrapped in courage and love.